Next up is Elizabeth Rosenzweig, who's going to talk about being the best you can be. And she's going to discuss dreams and how they guide you and how sometimes you might misinterpret them.
Thank you, Scott. Okay. When I was growing up, is that too loud? Just get this right. When I was growing up on Friday nights, my brother and sister and I would always have dinner with my parents. And they would bless us with a traditional Hebrew blessing, and then when they were done, they added their own. May you be the best Elizabeth that you can be. May you be the best Ben you could be. May you be the best Rebecca you can be. I think when I was a kid, I thought it was kind of goofy, but I finally realized that they were just telling me to be myself, to go after my dreams and just be the best Elizabeth that I could be. I don't really think I appreciated the wisdom until I had kids of my own. And I really saw it as my kids were going through their education, and I reflected back on how my parents helped me through my education. I was a great student. I loved going to school. When I got to high school, I embraced English and literature and history, and I liked geometry, but I really, really loved photography. And as I progressed, I came across algebra, which was not as exciting and much more difficult. And then I started to feel very challenged in high school, so my parents came in, met with my guidance counselor, and much to my surprise, I actually had enough credits and was doing well enough to graduate early. So the suggestion was graduate early from high school and find a college where you could be the best you could be. So I graduated high school in 3 years, and I went on to Goddard College. Goddard College, where they had no grades, and I could design my own curriculum, and I could study flora and fauna by going in the woods. And I could write poetry, and best of all, I could do photography every single day. And that's what I did. And I was sure I was on my way to being the best Elizabeth that I could be. So I graduated, and I lived in Vermont, and I was a photographer, and I was supporting myself and getting grants from the Vermont Council of the Arts, and I thought I was living the dream. And then, I guess I felt like I needed a new challenge. It wasn't quite the dream I thought it was. So this was 1982, and a lot of my friends were getting an MFA and going on to teach as artists. So I thought, that's great. I was doing so well, I'm sure I could get into Rhode Island School of Design, and that was my plan. I did call my parents because they're really good at reflecting and asking me good questions, and my mother said, this is exciting. Don't you think maybe you want to apply to more than one graduate school? Oh my God, Mom, how could you say that? I am going to RISD. My dad said, remember there's this photographer you used to love, Minor White? He started this photography program at MIT. I said, Dad, are you kidding me? MIT? How could they be doing art? How could they be doing anything creative? I totally underestimated my father, and brochures from MIT started showing up in my mailbox. Fine, I called him. Fine, Dad, I'll come down, I'll look at MIT. And the photography department was actually pretty nice, but then we got to this place called the Architecture Machine Group, and it was just as I suspected, a dark room with a lot of screens. I said, there's no way. However, I also found a place called the Visible Language Workshop, and they were doing things on a screen that I was doing with an X-Acto knife. And I thought, maybe I should check this out. So I applied to Rhode Island School of Design and to MIT. I was pretty sure I was going to go to RISD, though. And so after weeks of waiting, seemed like months of waiting, the envelope from RISD showed up in my mailbox. I grabbed it and ran up the stairs to my apartment. I sat on my couch. I was so excited, and then I thought, what if I actually don't get in? Maybe I should wait till my roommate gets home. I couldn't wait, and 2 hours later, my roommate came home, and I was still crying on the couch. I did not get into RISD. I thought my life had ended. I thought there was no way I was going to be the best Elizabeth I could be. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get into MIT because, after all, I went to Goddard. I didn't even have grades on my transcript, and the portfolio I sent to RISD, which is actually an art school, I was rejected. I called my parents. I was pretty sure my life was over, and my father, in his usual positive way, said, you know, sometimes something terrible really happens, and you don't know what'll happen next. Maybe some big opportunity that you never ever thought of will show up. He was always saying things like that, you know, like a door closes, a window opens somewhere else. Fine. So a few days later, the envelope from MIT came, and I did not run up the stairs. I was pretty sure I was not going to get in. I did consider waiting till my roommate got home in case it was the bad news I expected, but I could not wait. So then my memory gets a little fuzzy. I think there was some like out-of-body experience where I opened the envelope and somebody screamed over there. What was going on? And I looked at the paper and I got in. And I was going to be in the first class of the media lab at MIT. So actually I started to cry, and it wasn't tears of joy. I really didn't know how I was going to be the best Elizabeth that I can be. I mean, remember that algebra problem that I had? So the first year was pretty hard, I got to say, possibly the hardest year of my life. And I hired a tutor, and I figured out the math, and I started programming a computer and like making pictures on this computer. And then I think by the second year, I was very empowered. There was this whole notion of combining art and psychology and engineering, and whoa, what was that? Well, that was 30 years ago, and I got a front row seat to one of the most exciting fields in the world, and I think it did help me become the best Elizabeth that I can be, and even better, I have graduate students of my own now, and they come in sometimes as designers and photographers with no background in the sciences, and I can see that they're helping become the best they can be by pushing and going into this great field. So now I'm really grateful that my parents are still with us, and on Friday night, when my kids are home, I bless them with the traditional Hebrew blessing, and then I add, may you be the best Max you can be. May you be the best Lev you can be. May you be the best Danny you can be. Thank you.